AskReddit by H. Gotford. To you Redditors aged 50 plus, what's something you genuinely believe young people haven't realized yet, but could enrich their lives or positively impact their outlook on life? Marriage relationships should be fun and happy. Life is hard, things get tough. Find someone that makes the tough times easier, not harder. Piggybacking off this and saying, even the happiest marriages get into arguments. It's not a reason to leave. Not everything that you disagree with deserves an argument. Pick your battles and let trivial things slide. To echo this, not everyone you disagree with is wrong. They are simply operating with different information. You can disagree with someone in an issue and still value the person. Don't let one issue define your entire relationship to another person. If you die, your employer will have your job posted before you are buried. Remember that when making work-life choices. 100% this. Pops told me 30 years ago, don't forget mental income. Sure, you may be $20,000 a year behind your neighbors, but not bringing your work home with you every night and sleeping soundly is worth a lot more. Take a genuine interest in what other people have to say. Ask them follow-up questions about their passions in life. Don't just talk about yourself, or wait for your turn to talk. That's how you have a conversation and build a relationship. Unless you don't mind hearing like all the time, day and night, use hearing protection in loud situations. Tinnitus is a bitch. I acquired that shit during an AC/DC concert. I was near the column of speakers. Brian Johnson hit that fucking bell with a huge hammer. That shit fucked my ear forever. Everybody fucks up. It's what you do after that matters. 2 things I will be eternally grateful to my grandfather for instilling in me. Failure is not an end state unless it is where you choose to stop. He loved to quote that line by Churchill whenever something didn't work out for me. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Honesty is the most powerful tool you can use to define yourself. Admit your mistake, frankly and honestly. The truth always comes out in the end, no matter how big or small, and it doesn't get better with age. You can give back something you steal. You can help those you hurt, but once they brand you a liar, it's all you will ever be. Wear sunscreen. I just had a quick look at my 50-year-old upper chest, frequently exposed to the sun in my youth, and compared it to my 50-year-old belly, which has always been clothed and covered. I have never liked 2-piece swimsuits. What a difference. Every skill takes determined practice to master. I see my young friends' relatives try and give up on so many things because they weren't very good at it. If you keep doing that, you'll never be very good at anything. Every day it gets a little easier, but you gotta do it every day, that's the hard part. But it does get easier. Jogging Baboon from BoJack Horseman. This struck a chord with me recently. Everything you post on the internet is there forever and could come back one day to haunt you. Be careful what you post. Putting things off to do when you're older very likely means you'll end up not doing it. You young people have no idea how quickly your strength and stamina deserts you as you age. In my 30s and 40s I used to happily do multiple day hiking trips of 10-hour-a-day hikes up and over mountains. Now in my 50s, the last serious hike I did, which was only 6 hours, I could barely move the next day. My leg muscles were jelly. One of my best holidays was a month-long hike around Switzerland, done 15 years ago. As much as I would love to do that again, I have to face the fact I likely don't have it in me anymore. But at least I did get to do it. Had I put it off to when I retire, I would never have done it. Also, you may well never get the opportunity to do them. About 10 years ago when I first moved to Perth, WA, a co-worker's friend was due to retire. Friend and his wife had never been overseas. As his retirement drew close, he and Wifey started planning a big post-retirement, 12-month European trip as their first ever overseas adventure. Week after he retired, he dropped dead from a heart attack. I can back this enough. I've known people who waited to do something they've always wanted to do until they retired and never did so, either because they died before they could retire or never retired at all. Just be kind. Everyone is struggling to survive and find meaning, all creatures, people and other animals. Be nice. Be considerate. 1. It's usually not about you. 2. Sleep is incredibly important. 3. The most important conversations you have will be with yourself. Monitor your self-talk and speak positively, kindly and respectfully to yourself. 4. Sleep is incredibly important. Deleted. If you think you know what somebody else is thinking, you don't. That's just projection. Take care of your body. Exercise, keep your weight reasonable, and keep the bad habits in moderation. It really does make a difference later in life. And take care of your teeth. It's fucking expensive replacing crowns, getting implants, etc. Debt can really ruin your life. If you want to take on a lot of it, make sure you have a good plan and run it by a lot of smart people first. I was very debt averse, which limited some opportunities for me, so I wish I had learned earlier that debt isn't inherently bad, it just depends on the general value of what you're getting for it. Fear of the future makes you ignore the present, causing you to make errors now that you will regret doing in the past. If you pay attention to the right now, mindfulness, basically, you don't make as many errors, hence you regret the past less, and no longer fear the future. Break the cycle. How do I achieve this? Algorithmically speaking, live your life while you have energy and fewer commitments. And even when things aren't stellar, it is all life experiences and usually a nugget among the shit. Live your life. To comments down. Save your money. Well, WTF, which fucking one? I can't do both. Reading for pleasure. I have 2 kids, a full-time job, and a horse farm, and I sincerely miss reading. I used to crush books regularly, but by the time I'm done with everything it's probably 8 or 9 PM and I'm exhausted. I don't have the brain power to dive into a book. I'm really looking forward to getting back into it when the kids are a little older. Learn to eat well and exercise, or you will pay for it later. You don't have to be a health nut, but you have to move, and you can't sustain yourself on junk food and live a good life. If there was abuse in your childhood of any kind and no one helped, get help now. If you can't afford therapy, use online resource. They're not the best, but still helpful. Don't have your own children until you're sure you won't repeat the cycle. Deleted. Deleted. It took an existential crisis and an opioid addiction for me to finally understand this. Kept living my life trying to live up to my parents' expectations, and once I achieved multiple college degrees, a great job, nice home, all the toys I wanted, etc., I realized it was all meaningless and I was only 25. I was like, WTF, I'm not even halfway through my life and there's nothing left for me to do, achieve, and I'm still not fucking happy. If I've achieved everything I've ever dreamed of since I was a wee lad, and I still feel empty, unfulfilled, then what does it all mean? Now I live for myself, take the time to do what makes me happy, and my outlook on life is much better. I finally stopped future tripping and can finally live in the now. 60-year-old checking in. You can greatly improve your mental health. I have been involved in men's groups for over 20 years. I have done counseling, therapy, 12-step programs and even hypnotherapy. I tried meditation but was consistent. I am having so much fun with my life right now because I spent 30 years cleaning up the damage done by my dysfunctional family and the school system. If you aren't happy with your life, take action to change your mental health. Inheritance is not a retirement plan. Best inheritance is parents who can fund, edit from find, their old age care in whatever format. How very short life really is. I was 16 only yesterday. Listen to us, kids. It will happen to you too. Nobody else ever thinks about the things you did that you think were embarrassing or cringe-worthy. You are not important to them. The only one who remembers those moments are you, and you shouldn't let them define you to yourself. I heard a saying once. When you're young, you constantly worry about what everyone else thinks of you. When you're an adult, you stop worrying about what everyone else thinks of you. And when you're old, you finally realize that nobody else was thinking about you anyway. Work hard at your job, but also keep your ear open to other fields or jobs that can offer a better future. Success takes time, lots of time. Make sure that you see a path to a comfortable future. I would add to this that you don't have to find your personal fulfillment through your job. It's okay to get a job that pays and find personal fulfillment in other areas in your life. When you're 25, you look back at your 15-year-old self and think, man, I sure was foolish back then, and you assume you've stopped being foolish now that you have reached your final, mature form. Nope. When you were 35, you will look back at your 25-year-old self and think the same thing. Same at 45 and 55. Embrace this with humility, accept that some of your beliefs about yourself and about the world are probably wrong, and treat it as an opportunity to keep learning and growing. Go for experiences and not things. Similar, have fewer, nicer things. The habits you get into during your 20s and 30s are going to be damn near impossible to change. Make those habits good ones. Practice makes perfect applies to everything you do, not just the good stuff. Lying, eating poorly, procrastinating, mistreating your loved ones, you get better at these sorts of things as well. Time. You think you have plenty of time when you're young, but you actually don't. All of us 50 plus were your age once, and it feels like yesterday. Don't wait to do the things you dream of, or put things off for when you get older. That just leads to regret and what could have been reflection as you age. My dad always said pay now, play later, or play now, pay later. Focusing on school, skills, and experience when you are young makes life better for you when you're older. Stop smoking. It's expensive, nasty, and you will, eventually, stop because of the health effects. Stop now and save all that money. You don't feel 50 when you're 50. I feel 27 or 28. Change happens slowly so you don't always notice it. Stop with the your attitude determines my response and just be yourself. You don't need to reflect back at everyone. You're not a mirror. This should be higher. I'm not in my 50s yet, soon, but as soon as I stopped reflecting and exuded my own thoughts, feelings, reactions, life became a whole lot easier and less stressful. Lost a few friends along the way, gained a few as well. The real me is a much better megaphone than I thought the reflected them was. Life will never be perfect. We also had faith it would be this great ride one day. People stop loving you. People die that you can't live without. You won't achieve goals you thought were solid because someone else screwed you over or you just didn't know what to plan for. Employers just decide you're not a good fit with little notice. Kids don't keep looking at you like you're wonderful, in fact, quite the opposite. Dogs die too soon. Everything costs so much more than it should and the person across the counter doesn't care if you don't have money, because they are caught in the same cycle. People can be downright cruel, and the more we collectively suffer, the more cruel some people become. I was such a hopeful, optimistic person in my young 20s. Now I'm just trying to get to good enough many days. Don't get me wrong, I have a good life and I'm thankful, but life is not kind many times, and if you have enough of those moments, it gets hard to have hope. The thing is, you have to love to lose it. You have to work to get laid off. You have to buy to be stressed about cost. You will be unconditionally loved by the dog before they leave your life. We allow ourselves the future pain because of the highs they come with. The downhill just wears on you. Hang on to the bright days. You'll need to remember them to get through the rest. Be kind to yourself and others. Don't get romantically involved with someone if you think they need to change, but be ready to grow with them. Don't waste time or money on status things. Half of success is luck and quality, the other is efficiency and quantity. Success is being prepared enough to be able to take advantage of the lucky break when it presents itself. Compound interest is your friend. I wish I knew this at 20. Know that it's a much smaller percentage than you think of people who care about how you look or what you wear. People will remember your kindness and have no idea what you were wearing when you were kind. Edit to at, I said a smaller percentage to leave room for the people who do care what you look like or what you're wearing. I realize not everyone is the same. Floss and take care of your teeth. Invest as much money as you can when you are young and enjoy the compound interest. Get off your phone for long periods of the day. The world isn't black and white. It's grey and messy and way more complicated than you believe when you're young. That means even the person who disagrees with you probably has some valid reasons for doing so if you just listen. Reading books is awesome. Wisdom is just as important as intelligence. Still, don't neglect putting some points in charisma, strength, and dexterity. With the notable exceptions of actual competitions, humans are not in regular competition with each other. It doesn't matter who looks better, dresses better, eats better, travels better or lives better. We can both have good lives and be positive and kind to each other without losing anything. Be happy and celebrate other people's successes. I will be 60 this year. First thought was the Navy SEAL make your bed commencement speech. Including the good advice there, remember, it's just work. If working for a large company, work hard, but don't fall into the trap of thinking you are important to the organization. You're not, at least I wasn't. That was cause for a nervous breakdown. I realize now that I can always get another job, I will always survive. Any stress I encounter at work now, stays at work. It used to be that my house was just a place to sleep. Now I look forward to going home and enjoying weekends. I no longer need all the material things that I used to work so hard to earn. Now I live simply and more importantly, peacefully. Learn to let it go. Don't watch too much MSM. Don't hold grudges. Don't get pissed in traffic. Don't feel the need to correct the dipshits. Don't stress about the weather. Don't go to bed angry with your spouse. Just let it go. I'm only 44, but I'm dealing with some health issues that would normally affect someone later in life. It is so important to take care of yourself when you are young. Physically, mentally, everything. My issues are liver related. From drinking too much over the years. Thing is, I never really felt like I drank too much more than anyone else at that age. But everyone is different. Almost every day someone vents that they are losers because didn't achieve great things at the astonishing age of 2023. I'm 54 and believe that I can do lots of things in the next 20 years. So, young people could imagine they got a time travel when they are at 50s, going back to 25. What changes would you do? These kids have 3-5 years to decide. You're right. I'm 27 and sometimes I get that existential dread of wasting my life. I'm already 27, I should have achieved that years ago, my life will pass me by and I'll be a failure, all that shit. Luckily for me, all my co-workers, except for one, are 10-20 years older than me. I always hear from them, I wish I was your age, you have your whole life ahead of you. That makes me realize, yeah dipshit, what are you thinking? You're still in your 20s. I'm not even halfway through my life. Hopefully, I still have plenty of time to achieve what I want. You don't have to have a family. You don't have to get married. You don't have to have kids. Most people only do it because others expect it of them. You might find you're happier on your own. I'm not over 50, but I'm gonna quote someone who is. Figure out who you are, and then do it on purpose. Dolly Parton.